What's happening? Hello, lads and ladies, and welcome back to the channel. It's Monday night. It is the final week of the League One campaign. Again, 44/45 matches have all come down to this. The final weekend, the final place is up for grabs in the Sky Bet League One automatic promotion race, and also the players, and also 3 teams fighting it out for those last 2 safety spots for a League One spot next year. Here to talk to us about it is Jake from the Stay West podcast. We'll get him in due course. In tonight's show, we're going to discuss the game from the weekend. We're also going to react to the League One team of the season. We're going to give our team of the season all day that we've been going through. We'll give our young player of the year and also our goal of the season, as well as looking at manager of the season as well. To do it, though, we need him in. Let's get him in. And again, for those that can't understand his accent, I'm sure subtitles will be available at some point. How are we, Jake?
I'm here. I know you missed me, Ben. I'm here, mate. Look, I had a great day in Accrington on Saturday. Just the football ruined it. But no, I'm good. I've had some good news at work today. And I actually, Ben, you'll like this. I was walking in town, getting my lunch earlier, and I had a word with John Marquis, actually.
Oh, where about John Marquis?
He was outside Primark, so I'm not sure what he's doing, but he was very happy looking. Hopefully, he wants to stay on next season, so we shall see. Looking
happy. Oh, he's probably been told he's getting sold at some event.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? He's one of those players that is quality on their day, but do you want to stop him?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of young forwards at the football club. Do you want to prevent the pathway of one of those young forwards? So it's one of the conundrums the club are going to have to address over the summer. But no, he was a very nice man. Rated my choice of Greg's, so we got on very well.
What was your Greg's choice?
Steak bake. I got a raspberry lemonade, and then I also got some yum yums because he doesn't like it yum.
Tell you what, right? Sounds like Fleetwood's EFL campaign starts all right, and then just rapidly goes downhill. So, cheers, Chris. Appreciate that, mate. We're sending Wimbledon down. Mate, they're already down. We're going to get into that in a bit because I've got a few words on that. Anyway, today, what is good about today's show and the games, pretty much, there was 4 games that didn't matter in Accrington, Lincoln, Charlton, Shrewsbury, Cheltenham, Bolton, and Crewe against Ipswich. There was 4 games that did matter in the promotion race. In Rotherham against Oxford, Wigan against Plymouth, Sunderland against Cambridge, and Wickham against Wednesday. And then in the bottom 4 race, there was 3 games that mattered and 1 game that kind of mattered. Doncaster against Burton, Fleetwood against Wimbledon, MK Dons at home to Morecambe, and also Portsmouth at home to Gillingham. So, Jake, we'll start off with you. Now, you said to me you're going to have a sunny day in Accrington, which we're probably correct. Sun and Accrington don't really go together. No. And it was going to be a good day in Accrington. Well, you said it was a good day, but you said you were going to win 4-1. Accrington are good at home. To be fair to them, that was the 12th home win of the season. So, they've won over half the home games, and away from home this season, Accrington have been poor. A bit like Cheltenham, but those 2 sides have come from mid-table because of their, resistance and decent managers, decent squads, and a decent home form.
Yeah, look, I had a great day, Ben. I was severely intoxicated in the Crown pub before the game, which was nice. Watched Man United Arsenal. That was fantastic. Had a nice burger outside the ground. Spoke to 2 Lincoln City fans who had cycled all the way from Lincoln to Accrington for the charity, which was nice. And then I got in the ground and it all went downhill. Now it looked sunny from the highlights, Ben, but it was blowing a gale, and the football on the pitch didn't really inspire me. So I think some of our fans actually decided to go in the home end and have a bit of a sing-song because the atmosphere I'm sure you're aware that getting an atmosphere on that terrace is almost impossible, especially because it's so open and the wind is blowing. I mean, the football was dire. They scored a really dodgy first goal. Then Jordan Wright makes a mistake, the same mistake as he made at Pompey. And I think it was Colby Bishop that tapped in. And then Toby Savin got sent off. And what's really funny about Accrington, as you'll know, is the changing rooms are behind the away end. So Toby Savins in front of us getting sent off. You're giving him stick as he walks off, and all the Lincoln fans just turned around to the back of the stand and just kept giving him the old V's as he walked off. And then I left about 89 minutes and missed the Fiorini goal that was apparently a wonder goal. I mean, I've not seen it. I don't really want to watch the game back, but disappointing to lose. Accrington are a good side, Ben, at home, like you said. And as for us, get the season over, get the beers, get the barbecue on, and enjoy a nice summer where football can't hurt you every week.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I'll come on to my story in a bit. Again, Charlotte, got another win at home. 3 wins in 4, 10th home win of the season again. Mid-table side, you want to win 10 games at home. Charlton aren't that. Shrewsbury are. They've not been great away from home all season, really. And, that's been their sucker punch for them. Bolton went away at Cheltenham, Jake, and a great result for them. Cheltenham have been good. They've been a bit hit and miss lately since staying up. I think every side goes through that, rhythm of play. Like Ipswich, I think, Charlton, Shrewsbury, Accrington, Lincoln, yourselves have all been up and down. And, games, you can't hype yourself up a bit. It's like, well, you've done it now and there's nothing to really do anymore. Fair play to Bolton, though. I wouldn't put them in that bracket. They've rapidly improved and they've kind of seen this as a mini pre-season, really, in my opinion, where they thought, let's get some momentum now. Let's get the fans on side. Let's get these players working together. And what they've done is, in my opinion, I only reckon they need to add maybe 5 or 6 players if they can maintain the squad that they've got now. Of course, they've got a couple on loans and a couple on short-term deals, like Marlon Fossey and Trafford in goal. But a great result for them there. But also, Jake, Ipswich, the worst run under Kieran McKenna. I think that's only 1 win in 8 now. What are you thinking? Do you think that's just an end of season thing now? They can't get into the playoffs, a bit of a hangover?
Yeah, I think, like you just touched on there, Bolton have taken it on positively, which is why Bolton are going to be ridiculously dangerous for next season. I think McKenna's, since the playoffs has become practically impossible, has been just testing out the means of his squad. And I think he has every right to do that. Obviously, it's a big squad, wasn't it? They had a lot of players come in over the window. Vincent Young got in. How many times has he played? Really, Joe Piggott's not really got many minutes for them this season. He started, and Connor Chaplin, who was a player that when they signed him, you thought, okay, wow, he's done pretty well at Cov and at Barnsley, and you thought he might be a bit of a goal machine, but he struggled for minutes at times this season. So, yeah, I think it's difficult because when you've lost that goal that you're all working towards of getting into the playoffs and it's snatched away from you, you go, oh, what's the point? It's natural reaction to go, oh, I can't be bothered. So I think that's sort of what's happened really. I think McKenna will be disappointed. And then you've got to spin it around and look at Crewe. That's a really good result for Crewe. They look absolutely they are absolutely gone, but they looked absolutely horrendous weeks ago. And, to get a draw with a side like Ipswich, who are much better off financially, and the playing squad is probably 3 or 4 times better than, good result for Crewe, and it can give them a little bit of optimism headed into League 2 next season. Hopefully not a little bit too much optimism for Saturday, though. They can lose that game. But, a great result for Crewe, but not so much for the Tractor Boys.
I agree. And sometimes, like Ipswich, you just lose that urge to run that extra half yard to get to a ball that will go out of play. And also, Tony, on that, he has got a sponsor. The suit he's got on today is also from Primark. The tie, I believe, from Bernardo's as well. So we might be able to get a sponsorship from them, later on in
Fine cloth, this, Tony. Fine cloth, this, Tony. Cost me an arm and a leg from Marks and Spencer's, not Primark.
Hoping Fleetwood and Morgan say, sorry, Gilles. Well, we're going to come to the bottom 4 in due course. I want to go to the top 4, well, the 4 games that really matter, Jake, because it is heating up. You've got, I think, 4 teams on 80 points. And for me, it's so hard to miss out. I'm going to start off with Sunderland now. Sunderland I'm very critical of because I expect them up there every week. And in parts this season with Sunderland, they've looked like the best Sunderland side I have seen in League One since they've been down here. But in other parts of the season where they went that ridiculously long period under Johnson, they've looked like a side that had struggled to get out the National League. Now, the National League is a tough league to get out of anyway, but it's just confidence. And for me, in my opinion, if they don't go up this year, I don't think it will be a huge issue because I think Alex Neil will win the promotion next year with a full season. I've never been as more confident for a manager to win the promotion. Now, I said when he arrived at the football club, and we said it last week, he won't have them playing this fast, slick football. That's not what Alex Neil does. What he does do, he gets a solid basis, doesn't concede many goals, creates a couple of chances, works with the players that he's got, and has a team that he can build on for 3 or 4 years. Now, that's what Sunderland need, Jake. A great 5-1 win the other day. When you've got Stewart scoring for the first time in 8 games, scoring a brace, you've got Nathan Broadhead, who's been on fine form. You've got even Bath coming up with a goal as well. And that is 50 points at home. We talked about Sheffield Wednesday getting 50 points at home and how vital that was. If you want to get up, 50 points at home is a huge platform, isn't it?
Yeah, psychological advantage, going into the playoffs as well. If you've got a really good home record, you're thinking, if we have to take it back to the home game, we're comfortable. As for the game against Cambridge, I think the game sort of turned on the sending off of Lloyd Jones. I think it's definitely a penalty. However, can you give a penalty and a red card? I'm not too sure on the law. I think there's this double jeopardy that's come into the game recently, isn't there? If it's a penalty, it's a yellow card rather than it being a straight red. It depends what the referee gives the offence for. And then from then in, it's not really a contest because Cambridge, who have nothing to play for, yes, they went to Wigan last couple of weeks ago and got a shot result. But, you're taking the competitive element away from the game with Cambridge down to 10. And Sunderland went rampant, which you expect. With the players and the size of budget they've got, you'd expect them to beating teams like Cambridge, who have nothing to play for. And obviously, Cambridge got the goal back, which is good for them. But, for Sunderland, having that platform, because, last year they were, since they've been down in League One, they've struggled at home quite a bit, haven't they? With smaller teams coming to Sunderland and getting results. Whereas now they look like, you're playing Sunderland away, it's a difficult result, even if you're one of the smaller teams that are just going to sit in, because they'll find a way to break you down. So, no, massive result for Sunderland, massive that they can, get up to the 50-point barrier at home, and, that will give them that extra bit of confidence going into the end of season lottery if they get there. They've still got a job to do, but it will give them a whole heap of confidence. Try not to mention last year's playoff game, Ben. I tried not to, but I'm going to have to.
I know, it's like a dirty habit. We're going to go Wycombe Wednesday now. And Wycombe, for me, you said that was a poor point on Monday. I disagreed. I agree to a certain extent that you should be beating sides like Wimbledon. I saw it as the fact that it kept the run going. It's the best run, by the way, in 5 or 6 years as well. Not just this season as well. And that's 11 now. They've won 7, drawn 4. Now, we said a couple of times about sides like Wigan when they went on their run, MK Dons when they went on their little run, Oxford, Rotherham, Sheffield Wednesday when they went on. Every side pretty much in the top half has gone on a 10-game unbeaten run. That's why they're there for a reason. You wouldn't be there with 80 points if you didn't go on a good run at some stage of the season. If you win one, draw one for 10 games, that's 20 points. That's 2 points a game. 2 points over 46 games is 92 points. 92 points will win your promotion. You've seen that. Wigan are going to win the league. They'll win it with possibly 90, possibly 92 points. And that is what Wycombe are doing at this moment in time. They're beating a tough side in Wednesday at home. They got the job done. And they've got a lot of clean sheets now, so it's a 0-0. And again, people coming to Adams Park, they're selling out the stadium, they're selling out the car park, they're selling out everything, making it an intimidating place to go, which Adams Park 5 years ago used to be a quite a place that you could go. And put it this way, Lewis Hamilton would get 3 points more regular than he would on the motorway than he would, because it was an easy place to go, Wycombe. And Gareth Ainsworth has turned it around halfway through his reign, in my opinion, where he's made it a real solid base for teams to come, and they don't get many things. They have got a tough game next week where they do need to get something. Wednesday, though, are outside that top 6. They have got Fleetwood away tomorrow, which is a huge game. Now, for me, Fleetwood are going to sit in. Fleetwood are going to make it painful for Wednesday. Because if Fleetwood draw tomorrow, they're as good as safe, in my opinion, because I don't think Gillingham beat Rotherham. I think they might be able to. I think they draw against Rotherham, Jake. And then they got Portsmouth at home. I think they've got to look to get 4 points. And if they don't get into the top 6 with 83 points, then come on.
Yeah, no, look, Ben, on the game against Wickham, obviously, how many times have we said over the course of the season, their ground, their pitch, their rules, and Wickham put in an old school performance, and it was Obita, wasn't it, that squared. I think Wednesday had a goal disallowed, which I think their supporters were a little bit miffed about, which I can understand because, watching it back, I couldn't see a foul in there. So Wednesday fans might be thinking they should have got a point from the game. They've not, but they've got an opportunity to bounce back. And Fleetwood tomorrow is massive at both ends of the table.
Yeah.
I'm considering watching it on iFollow purely because of that. Obviously, for you guys, it's massive because if you get any sorts of points, you're then challenging Fleetwood to go and beat one of the better teams in the league at home, which they've not really been able to do all season. Whereas, if Wednesday win, they're pretty much, setting themselves up for a playoff campaign. So difficult one. I think they were disappointed. I think Wickham played pretty well. But do you know what, Ben? I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about this when we talk about the games later. I think Wednesday fans will agree that at times this season, I spoke to Wednesday fans and they said they've been a bit of a charity case when they play in the smaller teams, Ben. They've mentally they thought they've already won the game, and that can be so detrimental.
I agree with you, and this is what Wickham have. Now, what I love about Wickham is they have our house mentality. I know Darius Charles came out with that after they beat, I think it was Sunderland. I think they beat him 4-1, something like that. I think it was Sunderland, and they went, "Well, this is our house. You come into our stadium, we're going to get right after you, and you're not going to come away with anything." And they've lost 7 games away from home. One of those included Morecambe away from home early in the season, where they went and Morecambe fans got right behind the team and won them the game, in my opinion. And I agree with you. It's like, I don't know what it is because they've got a great squad. I just think at times they've been underwhelming. And that is the difference between Wickham in the playoffs to Wednesday in the playoffs. And that is why I fancy Wickham to do better than Wednesday in the playoffs.
Don't upset the Wednesday fans, Ben. We'll get in trouble.
I like Wednesday. They're a terrific fan base. I think they'll travel well tomorrow. I think they've got one of the best teams in the league, best players in the league. They've got quality all over the pitch. But I don't know what it is because they've drawn too many games early in the season and they've slipped up at vital moments. And in the playoffs, one decision like that go against them. Put it this way, if Wickham score that goal, I think their heads, they go again. If Sunderland score it, they go again. If Wigan or Rotherham score it, they go again, in my opinion. And that is the difference where Wednesday are now to where the other teams are. We're going to go on to the other teams now. Rotherham, Oxford. Now, Oxford needed to win, Jake. Obviously got an early own goal, but they didn't see it out and they're defending for some of the goals and some of the chances they gave away was criminal. They were awful away at Fleetwood defensively. Fleetwood should have won the game after they went 3-0 up, in my opinion. The 2 goals shouldn't have counted, which was bizarre. And then Rotherham came back and it's 15 home wins for the season now. It's a great stat and they put themselves in an opportunity, even though they've been not great of late, to go and, get automatic promotion with Sunderland away tomorrow. It's a tough game, but if they can win on the final day of the season, they're up.
Yeah, Ben, I think if Rotherham win one more game of football, they get promoted. I think they'll do it over the course of 2. As for the game against Oxford, it was Dan Barlasser, wasn't it, who I'm sure we'll talk about later when it comes to team of the season. Obviously, he got in the official League One team of the season. Putting through his own net, which he won't be too happy about. But then, it's Rotherham, isn't it? And they pull the sleeves up under Paul Warne, and they've been poor in recent weeks. I'm sure they'll admit that, but they've managed to turn it around. And you just feel like, don't you, this time that they've got the energy and they've got the willingness to get over the line. And look, it was Edmonds Green that got the goal that drew the level, and then Dan Barlasser making up for his mistake in the first half and putting a penalty, definite penalty for me on Ogbene, brought him down. for Oxford, it's disappointing for them not to have 3 consecutive playoff finishes. I'm sure Carl Robertson will be fuming, but you're going to a team like Rotherham, you're playing it, similar to Wickham. It's their rules, isn't it? So difficult game for Oxford, but I'm sure they'll be one of the teams that are strong again next season. I've got no doubt in my mind.
I agree, and the team, in my opinion, that are going to win the league, they might be able to look at the Forest situation of a few years ago where Forest had a 7-goal swing like Henson and missed out on the playoffs, but I don't think that'll happen. Portsmouth away, it's a tough game. Portsmouth are very good at home and been great the last 4 or 5 games or so, winning 3, drawing 1. And then, again, they've got to go to Shrewsbury in the last game of the season. Now, Shrewsbury have been quite solid defensively this year, but Wigan, for me, at times this year defensively, they've looked all over the place. And I do worry about that in the Championship. I do think they might have to have a look at that. But when in League One, you've got Will Keane, you've got, McGuinness, you've got Callum Lang, you've got James McLean, you've got, Max Power in midfield. They win games. They win titles. They win promotions. And it's a decent point for Plymouth. It's a decent point away from home, considering they've been not great at home. Only 1 win in 6. That was, I think, only the 2nd goal they scored in those 6 games as well. But they go into the next week needing a win, Jake, and MK Dons at home. MK Dons are going to be fighting for their lives if Rotherham slip up tomorrow at Sunderland, which is a possibility.
Yeah, no, and look, we challenged Plymouth a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, to really earn their stripes and get in the playoffs. This result is putting them well on their way, I think. Going to Wigan is never an easy task. Yes, Wigan are distracted by the fact they might be about to win the league and win promotion. But going to Wigan while in a high-pressure game, they had opportunities to win the game as well. I think they hit the bar from a corner. I think Argyle will take the point. I think if you looked at the games, if you writ their games down, I think you would take a point if you were Argyle at Wigan. So I think they'll be all right. I think they'll be happy with this result. And for Wigan, obviously, they're going to win the league title away from home, which is the best experience ever, winning a title on another ground. So, no, good for Wigan. I think they've deserved the promotion, haven't they? They've not officially got it yet, but I'm sure that will come tomorrow.
Yeah, possible, but it could be taken away because they've got 10,000 less fans in Bolton. So
yes,
you never know, Bolton could go top.
We all realise that Bolton got 4 points, didn't they, for beating Cheltenham on the weekend because they took a good allocation of fans.
Oh, exactly, brilliant. That's what I mean. For me, as well, by the way, Wigan, this could be the third promotion in 7 years where they've won the title in League One every year, which is an astounding achievement, right? But also, the average attendance, not much, has gone up in both of those titles. 9,100, 9,300, 9,500. So their support is growing. Not much, but on the road. I think they've sold out away at Portsmouth tomorrow on a Tuesday night, 300 odd miles away from home, school night. You've got to take possibly 2 days off work for that. And for me, that is dedication to the cause. And that is what support is about. But again, Wigan sitting pretty at the top. And then you've got MK and Rotherham tussling out. Rotherham got the game in hand and the better goal difference. Rotherham got to go to Gillingham on the last day, who need something. MK got to go to Plymouth. Plymouth haven't conceded a goal in their last 7 games. Again, that was against Rotherham where they lost by 1-0. Again, 26th of February, the last time they conceded a goal at home. Plymouth is going to be tough. Sunderland have got to play Rotherham at home, which is going to be a tough game. But at home, if they can nick a point, and they've got to go to Morecambe. Morecambe, a point will do for them in the bid to stay up. But I think Morecambe are already safe. We're going to come to that in a bit. And a great result for Wickham as they beat Wednesday. Wednesday needing something tomorrow away at Fleetwood to put them back in cruise control. Are you ready? Are you ready for the relegation fodder, Jake?
Oh, Ben, I am so ready because I think until about maybe 10-5 on Saturday, you were absolutely bricking yourself. And until Mr. Garner gave you a nice moment, I think you were quite worried, weren't you?
I was. Because we'll start off with Wimbledon because it was, the biggest game of the day. At the bottom end, in my opinion, because I think Morecambe were in cruise control. You were expecting them to go and beat a good MK Don side. Gillingham will hit Portsmouth. I think it was always going to be a tough ask. And, Doncaster are gone. It's a great result for Doncaster 2-0. And they're not down officially. And to take it to the last day, Jake, I tell you what, they've done well. And they've won 10 games. It's the most in the bottom 5 as well. So fair play to them overall. But Fleetwood, again, Wimbledon came with a plan. I knew they would do. They'd come in for straight. And, they got that goal. Rudani onto McCormick, in my opinion. McCormick and Essel, they'll be gone in the summer. If I was a club wanting to improve in League One from where they are now to the playoffs, Lincoln City are one. I'd go be queuing up for those 3 players, in my opinion, because they are genuine quality and they are in League Two next year. For me, it is a mystery. For me, if Scott Twine goes, I think one of those 3 could come in for one of those for Scott Twine, in my opinion. I don't think he'd replace Scott Twine, but you never know. I know the rivalry. Money talks, Jake.
You're brave, Ben. You're brave.
Anyway, so it's a great goal. But that was the 13th time in 26 games that they've taken the lead. Now, Fleetwood, by the way, were toothless. Now, Fleetwood, by the way, offer walking football, 5-a-side padability football at Pilfoot Farm, the training ground. Seems like Fleetwood played that for 75, 80 minutes the other day, and it was actually an embarrassment that it took 80 minutes for them to get out of gear, and they thought, oh, we've got to get something here. Otherwise, we've got to go and get something off Wednesday in Bolton. And we have made so many clanging mistakes where you thought it can't get any worse. So their goalkeeper wins a free kick. Now, I'm not hearing the rule that you couldn't hear the whistle, because I could hear it from where I was stood. And I was stood 10, 15 yards back from him in a crowd of people talking and shouting. So I'm not having that. He took 3 touches instead of the 1 that he should take. And again, Joe Garner normally would smash his foot through it. He just placed it into the corner. And I said at the time, it saved the game. It saved the season. Possibly I'd go as far as saying it saved the football club's next 3 or 4 or 5 years, because it's a huge moment. That brilliant finish. Shaden Morris and Zach Jules ended up at the home end, hugging the fans. And I sat after the game and I thought, wow, we've got away with that. And now we go into Wednesday tomorrow. If we win, we stay up. A very thin chance. But all I'm going to say is, because Gillingham lost, Morecambe lost, we're above it on goal difference. If we go to Bolton on the last day of the season, like it is now, I'll be honest with you, I was pulling my hair out all week. Right? I was stressed as anything. I couldn't talk. Like, people were talking to me about, like, uni work or work. I was like, I'm not being funny. My mind's elsewhere here. I'm scared, Jake. And
really? No
we
idea.
put ourselves in a position, but you never know with Gillingham. Mark Harris. I'm not worried about Morecambe. It's between us and Gillingham.
Mark Harris? What, Mark Harris is Gillingham manager? Do you mean Neil?
Neil Harris, sorry, Neil Harris. See?
No.
You've got me rattled.
Ben, look, I think you're fine. I think you'll get a point from your last 2 games. I don't know which way it's going to come around. And I was saying to my mates on the terrace at Atkinson, I'm severely worried about your mental health. If you had lost that game 1-0, I think you'd have gone into some sort of meltdown, and tonight's show probably would not have happened. Obviously, you needed a favour from a team that play in blue on the South Coast. I think they did you that favour, didn't they, by turning Gills over? And from what I could tell, I spoke to Tom from 4-0 written all over it. It looked pretty comfortable, didn't it, for Portsmouth? Yeah. I think he said that Gillingham were pretty toothless. Ronan Curtis, a.k.a. Beak Boy, managing to get on the score sheet twice. Good finish for the first one. And then the second one, another good finish. And then, look, Portsmouth are good at home under Danny Cowley. I've got no worries about Portsmouth, but that result probably helps you guys, doesn't it? The fact that they've beaten Gillingham. And
for me, and we're out of it on goal difference. I said all season it could come down to that.
Yeah,
and
it's not the goal difference.
If we draw tomorrow, then I can go to Bolton away a happy man. I don't think I'd be as stressed as I am now. I must admit, for me, us being in this league is a dream come true. But Gillingham, you never know at home. We're going to pack out Priestfield. It's going to be a fortress. And you never know. They could just grind out a 0-0. And that, for me, worries me. And we have to go on.
You could beat Wednesday, Ben. You could beat Wednesday.
We could beat Wednesday, but, Gillingham could also beat Rotherham. Anything can happen in football, mate. It's the last day of the season. Southend a couple of years ago beat Sunderland on the last game of the season. And I think Plymouth went down with 50 points. So Fleetwood could survive. By the way, it's an embarrassment that a team are going to possibly stay up on 40 points or even 41 points. For me, and it highlights the quality at the top when a team is out on 83 points. But again, great result for Portsmouth. Morecambe again. For me, not great at the weekend, but I think that they know. I think now they know after that weekend. They would have taken that before the game, knowing the other results. Harry Darling, by the way, what a goal. Ran the length of his pitch. A bit like a Harry Maguire run for England. That type of commanding run out from the back. And a brilliant finish. It's his 6th goal of the season. And MK Dons have got it all to play for. We've just said that before. But Doncaster, Jake, just quickly, bit of hope for them.
Yeah. Playing Burton, who are probably the beachiest side in the whole division. They've been on the beach for like half the season, haven't they, really? They're not really going to get promoted. And, the 5 or 6 teams, well, the 5 teams at the bottom are far worse than them. So, yeah, for Doncaster, we were saying last week when they drew with Shrewsbury that, that they're doing well to keep it going as far as they are. And, I know it's not impossible that they stay up. I mean, it's pretty impossible, but it's not mathematically impossible. So you have to give them credit. And, I mean, if Doncaster somehow survive, then it'll be what a season it will be. It's not going to happen.
28 goal swing, by the way.
Yeah, look, just imagine. I'd like it because Doncaster's a relatively close away day, but you have to sort of be realistic. And no, really good win against Burton. I've watched 18 Dappers vlog from the game. They look comfortable. They pass the ball around well, and they've got a new structure at Doncaster, haven't they? With Coppinger coming in as head of football operations. So interested to see how that works in League Two. I think they might. They'll probably have one of the biggest budgets up there, won't they? So you'd suspect Doncaster to do pretty well next year. But that sort of result will grind some, give some confidence to those players that know they're going to be at Doncaster next year, and we'll think, well, we've had a crap year, but we've got to right that and go again in League Two and get automatically promoted next time around.
Yeah, I agree. And also, by the way, we're not going to talk about Saturday's games in this stream. We're going to have a stream later on in the week to do that, where we'll have a couple of guests coming on, and it'll be a chilled League One stream. Maybe not for me, but for everyone else watching
I'll enjoy
it. By the way, if it does stay the same, I'm offering an IPTV subscription of £2.99 of a cam at me at Bolton away, pulling out my hair and me stressing. I was in bed by 9 o'clock the other day. I was that wiped out after the game. That many emotions come in. But again, if you are new to the channel, please remember to like and subscribe. We are 50 subscribers away from the magical 8,500. That was a goal at the start of the season, and we're so close. If you could help me out. And also like the stream as well. We're on 26 likes. Jake, do you want to give your channel a quick plug before we go into League One team this season, before we have to go into hiding?
I will do. The Stage US YouTube channel. Make sure you come and follow us over there. A lot of new content next year, as I say every week. We are currently 43 subscribers away from our end of season goal of 500 subs for the end of the season. So come and follow us over there. Do you want to follow me on Twitter at Jake_Tong98? More than happy to have a few chats, but mainly come over and watch the YouTube channel and press that button because we're trying to get to 500. Like I said, it means a lot to me if we could get there.
Yeah, agree with that, mate. You're doing really well. We are going to get a Morecambe and a Gillingham fan on, so again, hopefully that can go through. So League One team of the season. I'll be honest with you, 3 players for every position, and I've whittled it down to an 11, and I've got 15 to 20 players in front of me with really worthy cases that they could get in. And if I had to make a B side, I reckon our B team, Jake, for League One team of the season would challenge the top of the league, in my opinion, for how strong it is all over the park. But this side, I think, again, so if you don't know, the League One team of the season was that was official, was Cooper in goal, Darling, Aikwe, Watmore, McLean, Bannon, Barlassa, Wes Burns, Scott Twine, Ross Stewart, and Michael Smith. Goalkeeper then, Jake. We'll do ours. I've gone for Cooper in goal. For me, I think, have you got that down?
Yeah, I went for Cooper. Had a really good year coming through at Argyle. There's not been a great quality of goalkeepers. I think Josh Vickers is, hard done by. He's had a great season at Rotherham. So, yeah, the goalkeeper stand has not been fantastic this season, but Cooper's definitely one that's shone for me.
Yeah, I think Gavin Bazunu is also in with a shout. 18 clean sheets in 45 games. You saved the penalty this year as well. 110 career appearances, all coming at Argyle in the last 5 years. Again, I've gone for the same back three as the League One team this season. I know you've got a bit different. Harry Darwin, for me, commands that box. Again, can score a goal, but also play out from the back. Aitway has played pretty much every minute this year. Jack Watmore's played every game this season in the Wigan side. And for me, he goes underrated. He keeps that back, back three, back four at times, like a Jason Kerr, not the most experienced, back line in the world, but he is still a decent age, a decent player. And you said you hadn't heard of him. Well, for me, I think that just describes that, how good Wigan's squad is in an attacking sense, that you've also got to give your defenders and your goalkeeper a chance at the other end.
Yeah, no, and the only the memory that I have of Jack Watmore is if Tom from 4-0 written all over it is still in the stream, was him getting sent off in the game between Lincoln and Pompey last season. So not great impressions. The man that I have chosen to replace Watmore, I have gone for Darling and a Hickway. I think they've both been sensational this year. You look at Darling's pass completion, and I think the man that it's probably only right that he sits next to Darling in this back three is Warren O'Hora. Yeah. I think he has been outstanding for MK Dons. Come from Brighton, I believe, on a cheap deal, which is good for them. Settled into the squad last season, and then this year has really come on. Bit like Darling, quite good in front of goal, scored a really good goal at Cambridge a couple of weeks ago, but so impressive on the ball. And the way that Liam Manning sets them up, I just didn't think that, alongside Harry Darling, you couldn't have a better defender than Warren O'Hora to play in that system. And that's why I've gone for 2 MK players at the back, purely for their passing, but also, Warren O'Hora is a pretty good threat in both boxes as well.
Yeah, I agree. Now, don't come at me, guys, because this is what he did before we started the stream. Now, you can't play them at wing backs. Right. This is not a real life game of football, by the way. They're not going to turn up to Common Edge in Blackpool on a Sunday morning after a McDonald's and 10 pints on a Saturday. They might even make some calls, to be fair, and play a game of football. It is a fancy team that we're going for. So what are your left mid and right mid?
Okay, I think this one will be a bit under the radar. Obviously, I've not kept the same as the official team of the season. So at right wing, I'm going to be playing Callum Lang. Unbelievable talent. He's really kicked on this season. Was really good last year in a poor Wigan team, but this year has become the main man. Goals, assists. He can, I think he's getting a bit of a reputation for being a bit of a diver in the penalty box. Doesn't seem to be getting many decisions. I think he should have had a penalty at Plymouth on Saturday. But no, he's really come on leaps and bounds. And then on the left, I've actually gone for an Argyle player. I've gone for Conor Grant. I think he's really been fantastic in that left wing back role, and he's made it his own. Goals, assists, performances. Yes, he's been injured the last couple of weeks, but he's so effective for Argyle in the system that Schumacher has implemented. So for me, I went for Grant, but I know you've made a different decision for me down the left-hand side.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you've changed it. Thank you, Ben.
No, I haven't. I had Conor Grant because I have it written down here, and I was going to go McLean, and I thought I want to go different. Now, Conor Grant, 7 goals, 4 assists. He can play in multiple different positions along left-hand side. 38 games. It was torn between him and James McLean. For me, on the right-hand side, Burns could have gone in. I think he's been really good this year. But for me, Callum Lang has had a better season. He scored 14 goals, got 7 assists. He's got more goal contributions. His goals have, coming in a good side. And they've also come at important times to win points as well. Burns is in my worthy mention, so is McLean. But for me, Callum Lang has been one of the best 5 players in the league this year. And for me, I don't know how he's got in. He's probably one of two Wigan players that I was surprised not to even see anywhere near the team. For me, Scott Twine has got to go in. He has been the best player in League One this season. He's averaged a goal contribution every 169 minutes this year. He's got a goal every 228 goals this year. He scores goals from outside the box. I think he's got 5 free kicks. He scores a goal every 1.6 matches. Sorry, a goal contribution every 1.6 goal. He's got a goal contribution every 131 minutes. Phenomenal, mate. Phenomenal player. Phenomenal talent. The best player outside of the top 2 leagues in England for me.
Yeah, same. Scott Twine has to be in the team for all the reasons you mentioned above. You know, could have gone anywhere in the summer. Went to MK. Done really well there. Fitted in really well with the system, and it's all about him, isn't it? When MK move into the attacking third, it's all about Scott Twine giving the ball and he'll deliver. And he has this season. I notice how you've just missed the 2 midfielders behind him, Ben. So am I going to break?
Yeah, I was going to leave you, but I wanted to give Twine the shine and light.
You got something on your nose, Ben. It's slightly brown. Now midfield, they've gone for Barlasser and Bannon. I think we've agreed on our midfield duo here, Ben, haven't we? Barry Bannon is in the team for both of us purely because what that man can do with a football is outrageous. He doesn't belong at this level, and the goal that he scored against Milton Keynes the other week pretty much sums that up. Now, Dan Barlasser is supposed to be next to him, not for us. Really good season for Dan Barlasser. I'm not knocking him at all. Done really well for Rotherham. Ollie Rathbone's one that's had another good year. Tom Naylor's had a very good year.
And Wiles.
But we've just gone for Cameron Brannigan of Oxford, who is Mr. Oxford, isn't he? He's their best player, I think. Controls games, dictates tempo. When he goes off, Oxford don't look after the side they are when he's on the pitch. And he scored 4 penalties in one game with Gillingham. That's pretty impressive. Added goals. I think there's been championship interest. Blackpool certainly made their admiration of the player very public over the summer and the winter window. So Brannigan for me, Ben. And if we're looking at a midfield duo, I know this team's not going to play a game, but you've got Bannon, who you can just say, go on, go forward, affect the game, do what you can. You would trust Cameron Brannigan to sit there. Yes, he's not the most defensive midfielder in the world, but he can do the job of being sturdy and he can dictate the tempo, like I say. And for me, that duo just works.
Yeah, I agree. Brannigan in for me. And the other 9 goals that the other 10 goals that he scored, other than those 4 penalties, he's only scored 1 penalty all season. So you can't really call him, a penalty merchant, which... Come on, let's be honest. He's a really good player. He scored some very good goals. He scored 2 against Fleetwood, and he was actually on loan at Fleetwood about 5 years ago. And I could see his talent, just never really got the opportunity. And under a Carl Robinson type of manager. Next up for me, I'll go for my front 2. Stewart's got in 24 goals this season. Even though he's been patchy and he's pretty much scored all his goals altogether, he's still the top goal scorer in the league, and he scored 0.54 goals a game, so pretty much over a goal every 2 games as well. Again, he came in January, and it took him a while to get going, which I do, admire that he got going this year. 163 minutes per goal. Again, 20% of his goals have been penalties, but for me, a lot less Drogba, as they call him. For me, a superb player, and for me, Cole Stockton has to get in. For me, I like Will Keane. Will Keane as well. Will Keane for me was closer than Michael Smith to get into my team. And I like Michael Smith a lot. Michael Smith was close. But for me, Cole Stockton is one of the best strikers in League One. And he helped them pretty much win promotion last year, him and Mendes Gomez, the impact on the football club. 167 minutes per goal, which is a goal every 2 games pretty much. He scored 19 of his 23 goals inside the box. He comes alive. He's only scored 1 penalty this season. He scored 4 from outside the box, 1 from his own half.
Who is that against, Ben?
So, I think someone that watching will know what I'm on about. And for me, it is a disgrace how he wasn't in that team. He's single-handedly kept Morecambe Football Club in the division in. If you looked at Cole Stockton, 4 or 5 of his goals could be up for goal of the season. Instead of goal of the season, call it goal of the season.
Do you know what, Ben? I watched him. He was playing for Tranmere 5 years ago in the National League and looked horrendous. Just genuinely didn't work out for him. And now obviously he's got his move to Morecambe, done really well under Derek Adams last year, and then this year he's gone off a bit like a bomb, hasn't he? So the fact that Cole Stockton is not in this team purely tells you how much Sky and the media all just look at the top of the league and think all the best players are in the top teams, which is not the case in League One because, you know, you're looking at those basement teams, there are some very good players kicking about. Now, he is in my team ahead of Michael Smith. I'm currently going through a decision in my head of which one of 2 strikers I want to put next to him. So Ross Stewart is one, but I've just had the thought about Sam Vokes and it won't leave me alone.
You're not putting Stockton in?
No, I'm putting Stockton in.
Stockton, right.
Yeah, Stockton, and either I was thinking Stewart or Vokes. Now, yes, Stewart is the top goal scorer in the league, but if you're looking at a striker that has come into a football club and plays the way that the manager wants him to play and is so influential in the dressing room this season and the goals that he scored at Wycombe, he scored a lot of goals for Wycombe this season. I'm going to bottle it and go for Stewart, but Sam Vokes was very close for getting in my team.
I agree with you, and he's in my worthy mentions. But for me, I'd put... How many players would I put in front of him? 2 or 3. Will Keane's in front of him for me. Matty Taylor's in front of him for me. Obviously, Stewart is. And the other one that's in front of him, for me, obviously I said Matty Taylor, Alfie May. Because Alfie May has scored a lot of goals. He's in his 20s. And for me, if you want to play, these 2 strikers, by the way, they won't work together, Stewart and Stockton, in my opinion. 2 big target men who like to hold the ball up, who like to flick the ball on or hold it up. They're both masters at that, as is Michael Smith, who is also in there as well. Vokes has got to be up there because he has had an impact. But Alfie May, I think, is a perfect striker. He gets in pockets, he runs in behind, he runs channels, he presses, he drops deep, he can play a number 10. He is literally like a Scott Twine type of player. He's more than a goal scorer, he's a playmaker. And he is, as they call it, a defensive forward.
Yeah, no, you know, I'm sure we'll go through your mentions, but I think Selena's had a good season. He's one that could have gone in there. Alfie May, like you said. You know, you're looking at any of the Cheltenham back line. I think, you know, Will Boyle's had a really good season. You know, I'm just thinking about the bottom teams. Obviously, Paddy Lane's had a good season, which will come on.
Young player of the year, by the way, Paddy Lane.
I mean, I don't think any of my lot are anywhere near it. Potentially, Michael Nottingham's had another good year with Accrington. You know, there's some even looking at Cambridge, Joe Ironside, Jack Iredale, hard done by. So, yeah, difficult. It's probably the best League One, but you know, you're looking at the official team this season. Like I said earlier, those people that pick this team are just so focused on the top of the league, and all the talent isn't there. Because if it was, you know, teams like Fleetwood and Crewe and Doncaster would be sat on no points. Ultimately, these players are very good at what they do, and you've got some very good footballers that could be worth a mention. I think I don't think we do, but you know, you look at Morecambe, you know, your teams down there, Gillingham, Verdane Oliver's had a good season. You know, Bolton, I think Aaron Morley, even though he came in January, he's had a very good half of the season. John Barry Bodvarsson. So, look, difficult, good season of League One football, very good quality all around, and very difficult team of the season to pick them.
Yeah, great. Useful mention go for me: Burns, Will Keane, Barlas and May, Taylor, Sykes, Vokes, Ironside. Sean McConville's got 14 League One assists as well. Paddy Lane, Kamara, Smith, at Rotherham. Smith also at Cambridge as well. Joe Ironside, David Stockdale. For me, Pursuit Kamara is a fantastic player, energised. For me, the best player on the pitch when Plymouth played. Sunderland, an exceptional talent. Now the last 2 awards, we're going to go before we go to Manager of the Year for Goal of the Season. Now, I've got quite riled up over this, and I don't know why, because it's against my football club. For me, Barry Bannon's goal is 3rd in the list. For me, Burson Salina's goal has to be up there with Stockton's. The execution to chip it over the goalkeeper. If Chris MD could do Bannon's goal 2 or 3 times in 100, maybe Stockton's goal once. I don't think anyone does the Salina goal as Salina did it to the degree, in my opinion. But for Stockton's, people go to me, oh, they shouldn't count. The importance of the goal has to come into it. What is one of the greatest goals in the Premier League, Jake, is the Aguero goal against QPR, 2-1 down to win the title against the greatest rival, Manchester United, to win a Premier League title. Well, it was a decent goal. To beat a man, near post finish. There's a lot wrong with it. The keeper should save it probably. Defender should get rid of it. It's a fairly average goal overall, but it's celebrated as one of the best. Why? Because of the occasion. That goal is in the 94th minute, away from home. It keeps Morecambe in League One in the end. It puts Fleetwood down there, could send us down instead of them. It wins them the football match at the time. They weren't great at the time. I think there were a point between us, and there was a sold-out away end in the last kick of the game. Why can't the occasion and the minute of the goal matter? Like, if that was a goal to bring it back at 5-1 down, it's like, well, that's a good finish, but it's not. What's the point? Yeah,
Stockton's goal, it could have been a competition purely based on Cole Stockton, couldn't it, really? That goal.
Yeah, the Oxford goal, the Cambridge goal, the Wimbledon goal, the Fleetwood goal.
The one that I'm thinking about on top of that one is the Cambridge one, because it's so hard to execute. You know, the ball's come into him, fizzed in, and to chest it and to volley it into the top corner in one motion is fantastic. Barry Bannon has the time to take the ball down, to chest it, and to assess that Cummings off his line. So just to be different, Ben, I'm going to say Stockton's goal at Cambridge, purely because the difficulty of the goal, it might not mean so much, but the execution, wow, fantastic. If you gave it to any other player bar Cole Stockton, you need to give your head a wobble. Sorry.
Yeah. For me, he should be in the side. And, you know, for me, I watched him a lot at the end of last season. I just love players like him, workhorse, who fights for the badge. And, you know, he gets one nasty tackle on him and he'll go back for more. And he's an absolute dog, animal. And for me, that's what you want in your team. And he should be in the team. It's as simple as that. If you're not giving him goal of the season, he's got to be in team of the season, because
Where's he going, Ben? Where's he going in the summer? Because you'd think that he'd be moving on from Morecambe, you'd expect. I
think he's got to be careful where he goes, because I'd look at your lad Joe Piggott, who went to Ipswich. He was a legend at Wimbledon, scored 20-odd goals, basically kept them up. It's not worked for him, has it?
No.
And you've just got to look in. Sometimes that you think, right, okay, do I stay here, keep Morecambe up again, score 20 goals, or do I go to Ipswich, where there's expectation of that on me every week? Yes, it's like that at Morecambe, but for me,
does he get a championship move, Ben? Because from my understanding, Rotherham are favouring towards Joe Ironside because it looks to be cheaper. I'm not even kidding. I've been told that. I think
it wouldn't be a bad move, but I just think the way they play, if they're going to get rid of Smith, Stockton in the Championship is the ideal replacement for Michael Smith.
I feel like Preston might be an option for Stockton.
But you've also got to look at the types of players that they've had, you know, that they've got from League One or League Two clubs. Jaden Stockley didn't work out for him. He's like Cole Stockton, a goal machine at League Two at Exeter at the time. They had obviously Billy Bowden, who was one of the best players in League One at the time, an attacking midfield player at Bristol Rovers. Didn't work out for him. Now he's at Oxford doing quite well, to be fair to him. So for me, I think you just got to look at where you want to go. And for me, Wigan won't be a bad move possible, you know. If hopefully Charlie White gets back as well. League One team of the League One manager of the season. I think you've got to look at. I am going to give credit to Michael Duff, you know, Bonner for what they've done. I think they've got to be, you know, within right of a shout. And then you've got to look at the top end of League One. I think Liam Manning to come in a week before the season. I know he had the play style already there, and that's the way he plays. And the board have made that appointment. I think they've got to be recognised for that and got to be up there with probably one of the best decisions of the season. Liam Richardson, what he's done for me, I think he is my manager of the season, because I don't care if he's had a bigger budget, bigger wage budget. He's gone from a squad like that to up there, where the expectation has been from down there to up there, and he's exceeded. He's won the league. He's scored a lot of late goals. Not been great defensively all year. They haven't get as many clean sheets as they would have liked, but they've won games of football. By the way, he's done more. He pretty much helped Charlie White recover as well. He kept them up last year. He is more than just a manager. He is a great human being, a great life coach, a great, you know, you just want to play for him. And for me, he's got to be my manager this season. For me.
Yeah. Liam Richardson for me as well, Ben. But I was very close to giving it to a Bonner. Very close to giving it to Bonner, purely because if you watch games of football, Cambridge have a plan for everybody, and they work everybody out tactically, and they execute the game plan 9 times out of 10. So look, Liam Richardson has been fantastic this season, no doubts about it. He deserves the accolades, he deserves the stand, he deserves the title, and he deserves manager of the season. But if you're going to be different, and if you're going to give it to somebody who's done a job on a budget maybe half the size, less than that even, I wouldn't be looking past Mark Bonner purely for that. But Liam Richardson's going to win the title, and these awards tend to go to the managers at the top of the league. So I think Liam Richardson is a fair shout, but I would think I'd be giving it to Mark Bonner.
Yeah, I agree. And also, to not say anything that Gareth Ainsworth and John Coleman haven't been discussed.
And Paul Warne.
Paul Warne. Those three managers. You know why? Because John Coleman does it every single year. Like the Dyche role model at Burnley. I know that's come to an end, sadly, for them now. But every year, budget of really, really low. They get players from the non-league, the likes of, Bishop up front, Dion Charles, those types of players that have come through their side. Lee as well, who has come from, different types of football as well. Ainsworth, again, bigger budget than he once had, but it's still a really good squad that he's assembled. And, the way they see out results, it's fascinating. And Paul Warne does it every single year in League One.
Yeah, agreed, mate. Is there a reason you've left young player of the season to the end?
Player of the season?
Young player.
For me,
I feel like there might be a little agenda.
Well done, Paddy Lane, who won Young Player of the Season. It's good to see Fleetwood have finally won something for the first time since about 1973. For me, Paddy Lane, I said to Tony, and I also said to you, and I said on the stream, I said many times, our season in January, after all our business, relies on our number 32. What he does, if he gets goals, gets assists, how his impact on the team is, and he was really good. He had a really good 3-4 week period where he scored against MK Dons, Plymouth, Cambridge, Portsmouth, getting these assists against, Gillingham at home, sorry. I think he got one against Bolton as well. And then Danny Andrew got injured and he went to left back, and that screwed him. For me, I'd sacrifice someone else. And then we went on an awful run of form, and Paddy Lane, wasn't in his natural position, and that's why Fleetwood aren't safe yet. And he's been brilliant. He was working in Sainsbury's 2.5 years ago, and now he's Young Player of the Season. He's got goals, he's got assists, he takes players on. And for me, he deserves his award. And hopefully, he goes on and has a very good career. I personally, Jake, think I've seen him in the last time in a Fleetwood shirt, which saddens me. He signed a new deal about 6 months ago. He won't play for the rest of this season. West Ham are interested. People are saying £1 million. What's that for? Is that his left foot, his nose, his eyes, his hairline? For me, £2 million, because the way the length he's got on his contract, we don't need to worry just yet, and he'll only go and do that. But he's only a £2 million player. If on regarding the results this week, that could half if Fleetwood Town go down, because that will cut our losses. It is vital, by the way, that Fleetwood Town stay up this season, because we'll get double the money for Paddy Lane, we'll get double the money for our sponsorship. It'll pretty much pay for our next year of existence. It is vital for Fleetwood Town Football Club that we get something either tomorrow or Bolton, because I'm telling you this now, Jake, Gillingham, I'm worried about them. Fleetwood Town will need one more point this season.
Now, Ben, I'm just intrigued what the criteria was for the young player of the season. I don't know what the cut-off age was. Normally, when you do these young player of the season awards, the cut-off tends to be 23. And if that is the case, I'm sorry, Paddy Lane, but it's Callum Lang for me. If that's the criteria, I don't know what the criteria is. If, say, it's 23 and below, I think, Paddy Lane's a fantastic footballer, Ben, who will earn Fleetwood Town a couple of quid when he goes eventually, whenever he disappears. But if the criteria is under 23, for me, you can't look past Callum Lang.
I think it's 21.
If it's 21,
the guys that were mentioned.
Because the three nominees were Dan Neil, Gavin Bazunu,
Bazunu's 20, Paddy Lane is 21. I think Dan Neil's the same. Dan Neil, by the way, he's another one that we've not even mentioned. Could easily get into that League One team of the season.
Cracking season for Dan Neil. But
I think it's 21, mate. Because
if it's 21, then Paddy Lane's had a good season. If Fleetwood's, I think it's only becomes valuable. I think Paddy Lane is the assured winner if you stay in the division. If Fleetwood have got relegated, you probably and say Sunderland get promoted, you'd probably say it's Dan Neil. But this is why it's too early to call these things sometimes. So, no. Well done, Paddy Lane. Did we see who won Young Player of the Year in the division above?
Yeah.
Did you see? What a baller. What a player. £20 million player. Brennan Johnson. Goes down
he went down far too easily. But Jake, thanks for joining me, mate. Again, been a good show. We've done our League One team of seasons. What do you think of ours? Again, quick plug before we go, Jake.
Yep, Station West YouTube channel. Come and give us a sub. And then Jake_Tong98 on Twitter. Come and give us a follow.
Perfect. Again, thank you very much for watching, guys. We've still got 50 people in. Again, every stream, every podcast that we've been doing of these, like they've been getting 1,000, a couple 1,500, one's got over 2,000 as well. Again, these podcasts get bigger. And the aim for this week is Sheffield Wednesday vlog on a Tuesday. Tomorrow, big game under the lights. Fortress Hybrid, even though we've only won, like 3 times there all season, and we've not won in 9. Again, we'll have a stream Thursday, hopefully. Again, I'll talk about the relegation battle at the bottom end of League One and also the top as well. Jake, any final words, my friends? 3 for you, Ben. Up the Imps. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Please remember to like and subscribe. Have a very good Monday. Again, all the best to your team this week. We will discuss that on Saturday, on Tuesday before Bolton away, the last game of the season. And then we can have a little break for a couple of weeks. Jake, thanks very much, my friends. No worries, Ben. Always a pleasure. Up the Cods. Up the Imps. Yeah, of course.